Hey guys, Furum here, and today I am going to be testing the Mercedes-Benz SLK 55 AMG Special Edition in multiplayer, this time at a rank of 1285. So, this tune is the basic multiplayer tune for a top speed oriented car, 0500 and in Pro Kits 5050. Max top speed, pro tires, and pro drivetrain. So let's get to our first race, in which we see that the SLK Special Edition can do extremely well, even on tracks that are not suited very well for it. I know I said in a previous video, I think in the Honda Integra, that Skydrop, this map, was one of the worst tracks for the SLK because of the turns at the beginning. And that is true. The SLK cannot reach nearly its maximum speed for a long time on this track, and it slows down very much around these turns. However, there is a fairly long straight section after them. Here I can gain a lot of speed back falling off the cliff here, and when we go to the bottom we can get to our maximum speed of 321 miles per hour. Yes, at a rank of 1285, and we just passed that Cobra like he was nothing. This car at this rank goes nearly as fast as a Max Pro Corvette Grand Sport and DeVel 16, and it's faster than every single other car at Max Pro in the entire game, at a rank of 1285. Yes, you can see why people call this car overpowered and why those that don't have it absolutely hate it. And here I got an interesting barrel roll. Sometimes that happens when you turn to the left or to the right sharply when going up that jump. I don't know why it happens, but it's pretty interesting and can give you some extra nitro if that is what you need at the time. So, I didn't even know there was another SLK in the race, but he was at a rank of 1280, and we also beat a 1293 Shelby Cobra. In probably 90% of the races that I played, there was another SLK Special Edition. This was not an exception. So even though the Shelby Cobra starts up way faster than these cars, a Shelby Cobra at a rank of 1285, for comparison, goes around 253 miles per hour. That is nearly 60 miles per hour slower than this car. The SLK that I passed back there is at a rank of 1265. That tune is 04005050, the tune that I used in my previous SLK video, but with either acceleration or handling tuned all the way up in the Elite tuning. I would recommend against this honestly because it increases the rank by a little bit for hardly any of a performance increase, and I just find it to not be worth it. If I were to do that in this car, I would be above 1300, probably get worse matchmaking, and have practically no better performance. So yes, I would just recommend tuning top speed all the way up in Elite tuning and leaving everything else all the way down. So this time we have beat a 1292 Cobra, who interestingly enough beat the 1265 SLK Special Edition. I guess that was because the SLK wrecked at some point. That is one slightly bad thing about the SLK. It is very unforgiving in wrecks. It causes you to lose so much more time than you would in other cars because of its ridiculously slow acceleration, especially at this rank. You can see just how long it takes me to get up to any substantial speed, and even longer to get up to the maximum speed that this car can reach at this rank, which, as I said before, is 321 miles per hour. In a lot of cases, it is best to avoid ramps in the SLK because they cause somewhat of a speed decrease, but if you can flat spin off of them like that, get a lot more nitro, and hardly have any speed decrease, then it is probably worth it. The drifting with this tune of the SLK is atrocious. It is absolutely terrible. It is worse than the Camaro, worse than the Cobras, worse than the Cigaris' drifting. Yeah. It is just extremely bad, and that is one thing you have to watch out for. That is why I am going this way on Nevada, because there is only one sharp turn. While it cannot make it very well, there are no other sharp turns in this route where it hits the side, unlike the other way where there are 3 or 4 turns where it would hit the side. A lot of people say that that route is better. I am honestly not certain. I have not done a test between the two, but I usually take the right route because it usually causes me to lose less speed. So here we beat 2 SLKs, one 1299, one 1210, and a BMW M2 at a rank of 1197. If you think 3 SLKs is a lot for one race, in this race we have 4 SLKs. And these are the only cars in the race. And we all start up with the same ridiculously slow acceleration. If I had not triple tapped at the beginning of this, I probably would have gotten knocked down. That is why, even though the SLK has terrible acceleration, you usually see me triple tapping at the beginning, because running out of nitro a little bit early is not as bad as getting knocked down at the beginning and losing many seconds of time. So that is why I usually triple tap, unless I'm in the back, in which oftentimes I do perfect nitro, just because, well, I cannot get knocked down if I'm in the back. So Barcelona is generally one of the best tracks for the SLK because while it does have a couple somewhat sharp turns, those can be a little bit negated by drifting early, and the rest of the track is extremely straight. So these two up here, as I was talking about, one thing you can do is drift early and just kind of drift wide around it, and you don't really have to worry about hitting the sides and losing a lot of speed. That is the best thing to do in that case. However, on the second lap, my car completely refused to drift. It just went straight, so it forced me to turn completely around, go into a wall, back up, and by that time, even though I was so far ahead, another SLK had passed me and I came in second place. So be very careful how you take some turns, because if you hit the wall hard enough, stuff like that will happen, and it can lose you a guaranteed first place otherwise. So now we have a race on Ocean View Derby, one of the worst tracks on Rio for the SLK. This is because of all the ramps that you need to go up to take the short ways, and because it is very curvy and twisty, and so yes, this is one I would recommend avoiding. A lot of the tracks in this video aren't the greatest SLK tracks. This is probably due to the fact that a lot of other cars who weren't driving SLKs purposely pick tracks that are bad for the SLK so they can have a better chance against them. And that is a wise move on their part. But even on bad tracks for it, the SLK can still almost always manage to pull off the win against cars like the Cobra and M2. Only, really, you have to worry about other SLKs that are at equal rank or higher if you're in this tune. And if you're a very skilled driver, you should be able to beat higher SLKs a lot of the time as well. This is because after this rank, the SLK can hardly increase in speed at all. From this rank to Max Pro, it only increases by 14 miles per hour, so any tune you meet that may be 100 above you will not be more than a few miles per hour faster than you. So here we beat the same 1299 SLK we beat earlier in the video, as well as a 1262 Shelby Cobra. I feel kind of bad for all the people that worked really hard in Mastery to get the Cobra, and those that got the M2 as well through whatever means they did, saving up blueprints or through free giveaways, just because the SLK is so common now. I think I've probably seen more SLKs at this rank since I've been testing than Cobras and M2s combined. Yeah, it used to be possible to reach champion with the M2 and Cobra around this rank, and possibly to reach 2150 rating with them if you were extremely skilled. Now, because of the SLK invasion, because if you are at least in fairly high Challenger League, there will probably be 1 or 2 SLKs in every race you play around this rank. And if there isn't, well, you got lucky and found a really good room. But as you can see from this race, in which there is at least 1 Cobra and 1 M2, they really just don't stand a chance, because I've already passed both of them, and we're not even 1 minute into the race. Now, the M2 and Cobra have a better chance on shorter and twistier tracks, and I can probably say that the M2 has a better chance than the Cobra against the SLK, because the Cobra has terrible acceleration as well and favors less twisty tracks, whereas the M2 can do just fine on twisty tracks, which the SLK is not as good at. So we've beat a 1256 M2, which is the tune that I discovered, a 1262 Cobra, and a 1269 M2. Now we have a race on Patagonia against another SLK who you can just barely see there in the back, and a Cobra as well. So I was surprised at the beginning the Cobra didn't catch up quicker, but eventually he passed me. He probably perfect nitroed at the beginning, but I didn't, and so I was able to pass him very quickly and get up to speed just fine. Unless you're on a track extremely lacking in nitro, it is usually best to triple tap at the beginning to lower your chance of getting knocked down, especially if you're running extra tank. And I really wouldn't recommend much running the SLK without extra tank if you're playing ticket races in a high league, because, well, it might be fine before the invasion of all the SLKs, but nowadays almost all SLKs in multiplayer around this rank who are trying really hard are going to be running extra tanks, and you will be at a very big disadvantage if you cannot triple tap at the beginning, and they can, and they get ahead or knock you down. So yes, if you're running an SLK, extra tanks is the way to go. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Dr. Hillusion made a video a little while back, which was between me and him in our SLKs in the first ever race I played against him in our 1285 SLKs. And I didn't do so great in that one, so I'm hoping this Sunday, when Dr. Hillusion said he would be streaming next, that we can play another race, at least one, in our SLKs. Let's see how it goes that time, because I think I've gotten better. So we beat another 1299 SLK Special Edition and a 1285 Shelby Cobra. Now for our final race, which is on Azure Coast against a Range Rover, an MP48, and you guessed it, another SLK. Honestly, what else do we expect at this point? It is extremely rare to find a race between 1200 and 1300 ranks without another SLK in it, which if you're an SLK driver gives good competition and is usually a good thing, since if you have a very good tune like this one, you can often beat them and gain a lot of rating points from them, because a lot of times they are in high leagues. But if you're not in an SLK, it can be deadly. So I believe I have finally mastered the art of taking the Azure Coast turns in the SLK. You have to start drifting much earlier than you would in other cars and drift punch even when you think you would hit the inside, because the drifting is so bad that you usually won't. Here, I would have hit the inside in any other car, but since I'm in this atrociously drifting car, I did not, and I was able to get around the corners without hitting the sides at all and losing minimum speed. So, I think it's safe to say that the SLK Special Edition, especially between ranks 1200 and 1300, and especially at this rank, is the most overpowered car in the game. There's not even a need for me to say whether or not this car is worth it. That's very easy to figure out. By the way, guys, just recently, on the App Store for some people, Asphalt 8's logo changed to have a BMW M2 Special Edition, so that will be coming to the game, most likely in the next update. So we can see how that will do against the SLK Special Edition. In this race, we beat another 1265 SLK Special Edition and a poor over-tuned Range Rover. So thank you all for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed and found the tips in it to be helpful, and consider subscribing to see my Asphalt 8 videos right as they come out. And I will see you later. Goodbye.